Hello, everybody. We are live. Beth here from Access Paranormal. It is a Friday morning at 9 a.m., so hence the reason the coffee. So wherever you are in the world, welcome, welcome. We'll give it a couple of minutes for people to join on in too. So I'm very excited with this particular webinar as well, as always with the others too. So we're going to go into some really interesting stuff. So welcome to everybody who will be watching the replay as well. As we go through some of the questions, I know that some people will be using the chat room, and in the replay, I know that the chat room is disabled. So I'll actually read out a lot of the questions that people will be putting and writing down as well. So I'll wait a little bit so people can jump on in soon. So yeah, in Sydney, Australia at the moment, we're going through our summer. Yesterday was a public holiday for us. It is, or is known as Australia Day. So it's the day that Captain Cook sailed into Sydney Harbour and discovered this country, and then of course settlement, as they call it, or invasion, depending on where you sit with it, has happened afterwards. And yeah, that's why we're here. So we celebrate that day, the 26th of January. I know in America it's January 26th. So yeah, so it was very interesting. It was good to have a nice day off. So back into the swing of things, of course, as usual. So I'll wait a little bit longer for other people to join on in too. So oh goodness. All right. I think what we might do is we might get stuck into it now. Cool. All right. I'm going to switch screens. So you will now have my presentation up in a second. Oh, so it looks slightly different. There we go. So first things, a couple of sort of housekeeping things, I guess you could say. If you do, or if you are using a computer, if you do have your tabs open, if you actually close them down, because if you are watching this live, it's going to affect the live stream and bandwidth. So that's a really, really good tip. I know if sometimes there's a video that's played before you actually do register that actually says, this is some great tips on how to make sure that you get the best internet connection. Also keep in mind there is usually about a 7-second delay. So if you do type something in the chat room, I may not see it until about 7 seconds later. So it's not that I'm ignoring you, it's just the fact that there is a bit of a delay with this, just naturally anyway, just through the server of this particular program that I'm using. Also, if you do have a question, so the guys that are watching this live one, if you do have a question, type in a Q and then type the question. If you have a statement, type S and then the statement, because what I can do then is actually go back and review and make sure that I've answered everyone's questions. So that's the biggest, most important thing. So I don't want to miss anyone's information in any way, shape or form. Also, I have a deck being rebuilt out the back, so you may hear some sawing and chopping and hammering. So it's not sort of someone being murdered out in the backyard. It's literally the fact that I'm having a deck rebuilt. So if you do hear those sounds coming through occasionally, I do apologize for the joys of life continuing while you're working. Also, I will be making a very special offer at the end of this particular webinar as well. So for you that will be very interested in that, by all means, you can stay on until the end and hear all about it. So we'll get stuck into it. So for those who are watching that may not necessarily know of me, I'll go into a little bit of me before we actually go into the information as well. So a little bit about me. I love the hammering's already started. Perfect timing. So far, myself, I've been independently investigating for about 8.5 years out of probably, investigating about 8.5, but 6 of those independently. And I originally started in the UK before coming back to Australia. So I know looking at these great photos, there's hopefully one person in these photos is actually watching this. And if they are, I do say a special hello to you. I started a website called Access Paranormal for paranormal investigators in Australia. Now, because there wasn't anything around that was sort of central networking or learning events, I wanted to create a spot that was just for Australia. And there are so many great websites in the States and in the UK and all around Europe, but there was nothing really just for Australia. So since then, I've been able to host some great events, including the Kling Brothers Tour of Australia in 2014. 2014, and that's them. They're very tired at Sydney Airport, about to go back to Texas. I've also been a part of Paracon Road Trip with Ben Hansen, running Access Nights, which were information nights here in Sydney. I've also created co-created which is now the really infamous Paracon Australia. That's now being fully run by Alex Caius. I've also been able to speak at some great events, including Las Vegas Paracon, and I was able to join the panel discussion at Scarefest last year as well. Now, as you can see, I've actually been a part of this great production by Moonlight Media, which is called Internebris. I was co-hosting that with Andrea Caldi. I've also been involved in the other one that they've been able to produce as well, called PI Uncut. And this year, I've been picked as the voiceover artist for the Kling Brothers production of GL Revolution. As you can see, I've been interviewed by media all over the world. I also have a podcast called Access Paracast. But my biggest passion is totally learning and development for paranormal investigators. So what are your common fears? What are investigators' common fears? So here are a bit of info of what I've come across in my experience. Because in this day and age, it's great that there is so much information available on just about anything, but it can be really overwhelming. And this has stopped me in the past. And I know, like, looking back, I felt like I really missed out. I've also found that sometimes other investigators were really guarded about what they knew and they learned. And like maybe there was some sort of secrecy behind it, or, being allowed to know information they knew. Was it because they might, thought that you were a threat to gaining access to a location that they did? Whatever was the reason, it wasn't really helping moving the field forward. So learning about the basics of science and psychology when it comes to investigating can bring up all sorts of fears. So what are the most common fears? What are the three most common? Hey, first one, too difficult to understand. Now, I hated science when I was in high school in Australia, and I couldn't wait to drop the subject and pick something that I thought was more relevant, like video editing. So yes, I'm showing my age. Video editing was something I really wanted to do. So the irony of today, of course, is here I am embracing this subject, and it can be quite complex, but not only embracing it, I'm really loving it. And how did I make this 180? What was the big change? And for me, it was realizing there was so much to be gained from knowing some of the more simpler aspects of science and psychology. So without, having to, for myself, I haven't attended university, or I don't have an academic background. So originally I avoided it. I found it was too difficult. I found it too wordy, too many ways that information is written, like a completely different language. So I completely get it. I get the fear of stepping into subjects like this and then trying to figure out how to understand them. So, just like you may see, say for instance, in a Facebook group, someone is talking about EMF in the natural environment, and one person says, "Oh, it's not possible. It's more than likely paranormal." And then someone else might say, "Well, no, it is possible, as the Earth has its own EMF." So how do you know which person to trust, what information really is correct? There are ways around this, and you shouldn't have to miss out on the right information if something appears to be written in a format that is difficult for you. Next, fear. Number 2, fear of being made fun of or ridiculed. Now, picture this. Imagine yourself at a paranormal event, and people have been investigating way longer than you, and they're all talking about all different sorts of things and using terminology that, well, just kind of goes right over your head. Now, as you're standing there, you're kind of nodding away, you're trying to make sense of it all, but someone asks you that question, like, "Oh, so what do you think?" And you're like, oh God, you're still stuck at the very first point that was made about 10 minutes ago. So just being human means we're going to want to avoid this like the Black Plague. But being honest is the first step. So the best thing in this situation is saying, "You know what? I haven't come to my own conclusion yet. Are you able to explain more? In a more simpler term." See, asking them if if it's too wordy, or getting them to clarify, you'll be surprised, because most people will be really happy just the fact that you're showing interest, but they're more than happy for you to help you understand it as well. Number 3, don't know where to find reliable information. So there are a ton of different websites out there, and there's not a ton of time. So what is actually something that you can rely on, and what are the ones that you really shouldn't really bother with? With this so much information out there, it shouldn't be a reason for you to give up. I've always found that finding the credentials or the background of any company or organization before reading or studying anything from a website is really important. So if there's information, say, about bio-EMF from maybe somewhere like the Spiritual Center, then you probably should give that a miss. Now, it may be written with bias in mind, and that's no disrespect to the spiritual centers or courses. But if you want tangible, factual information, stick with university organizations, parapsychologists with academic backgrounds, and those who show proof of their research and experience. I know I felt like this, and it's been an interesting ride, let's just say. So guys, where can you start? By finding valuable information. So if you are watching this live, or if you are watching the replay, grab a pen. I'm going to give some great websites I found have been really, really helpful with this particular problem. So they are the Society of Scientific Exploration. Now, this website is actually a council of academics and scholars, and they have a quarterly journal. Now, these include interviews, you've got book reviews, research articles, and there's always, I think there's always free journals, but I think the most recent 4 are for just members only. But you can still sign up for free. If you're wanting to obviously be a full member, you've got that option as well. So that's the website there. Go and check them out. Paranthropology, I always have trouble pronouncing that. They're actually journals and articles that are also written by academics and scholars, but this one actually focuses on the whole anthropology side of it, but with the paranormal. So they kind of approach it to the paranormal, which is a really interesting angle. They've described these journals as, and I think I've got it here, it says a free online journal devoted to the promotion of social scientific approaches to the study of the paranormal experiences, beliefs, and phenomena in all its varied guises. Now, as I mentioned, they are free, but if you feel inclined, you can also give these guys a donation as well. ASSIP, the Association of Scientific Study and Anomalous Phenomena. These guys are based in the UK, and they are a charity-based society, and they were founded, I think it was in the 1980s, possibly. Probably one of the best websites I've found with relevant info for paranormal investigating. It was really, I find it, the information is very practical. It's written with good comprehension in there, and yet it's not too, you don't get too lost in it as well. So really, really good website. I highly recommend ASSIP. And of course, SPR, the Society of Psychical Research. These guys have been around since the 1800s, and they've got great blogs and newsletters. And again, if you're based in the UK, I'm really jealous. You can actually go and see their talks and events as well. They have them all scattered along always during the year too. I personally like their encyclopedia, because it's really good when it comes to understanding specific terms. But another way to kickstart your learning journey is to enroll in the Science 5. Now, this is an online course that can help take you to the next step in exploring topics of science and psychology. So if you don't have the time, and time's very, very important for most of us, and having the time, because we do have lives, that's not a problem either, because you can actually learn 5 science and psychology topics which are relevant to investigating all in 1 week. Yes, it's just 5, but just all in 1 week. Now, well, you're going to know, what do I get? What is this course all about? It's 15 videos covering topics of that are easy to understand format. So it's visual format. Each topic is set out by what it is, how it affects investigating, and what to do when you think the topic is the course, which is really important. It's very practical. So you'll actually understand what that type of topic is. Say, for instance, if it's confirmation bias, you'll understand what it is, how confirmation bias affects paranormal investigating. So even if you're going through a case, or you're out on a location, you're thinking, I can see this might be what's happening. This might be the cause of what people are experiencing. You can actually go back to this course and actually look through and go, see, there are ways in which you can tell whether or not something like this could be at play. And of course, what to do when you think is the cause. So it's all wonderful to have this fantastic information, but then what do you do with it? So very practical. There's a workbook with each topic as well. So of course a lot of people love printing and handwriting. For me, I like using PDF documents to type directly into them. I'm a sort of a typey officey thing. So those options are also available as well. If you get the complete package, there is 12-month access to the VIP Facebook private page. I love group pages when it comes to being investigating and ideas and theories. I've learned so much just from being involved with like-minded people, posting links, articles, ideas, information. It's such a great way to build a beautiful community and a safe place to actually ask those questions. So fantastic. And also you get 12 months access to the Demonic Possessions Possible Alternative Explanations webinar. Now, this was actually a talk that I've been giving probably for about the last year and a half. It's been very popular, and probably more than likely because it's about the demonic topics, so demons and demonic possessions and all this kinds of stuff. So with that being the case, it goes into the whole possible explanations other than someone deeming something or someone being demonically possessed. So there's that as well. So really, really great webinar, fantastic. A lot of people got a lot out of that particular one. So that's also included in this great package. So what do you gain from this? What do you actually get coming out and having completed this? It's a unique advantage to finding your PAE, which is your possible alternative explanations. So some people may call that debunking, but really it's finding an alternative explanation. Debunking gives them more of a possibility of something being done fraudulently or with fraud in mind. So doing this course, you're going to have a great basis and a way to which you can actually find your possible alternative explanations, your PAE, which is so vital when you're out investigating. It also gives you the confidence to know that you have a greater understanding of natural phenomena. So you're going to know more about what happens in the environment around us, why certain things happen, what you can do when those certain things happen. I cannot begin to tell you how confident I feel knowing more about it. Of course, you'll never know everything about it, but it's good to know more than what the average person does in that situation, because it can so be easily mistaken as something that's paranormal. It gives you the ability to maximize time for all the other things you have in life. So because it's a module per day, 4 or 5 days, in a week, you have completed that course. And it's no more than 30 minutes per module. So you've got the ability to be able to get a hold of that information when you need it, and it's concise and it's stuff that you can use. And of course, you can generate new experiment ideas. That's a big bonus with this, because we get to a point when we're investigating where we're doing the same things all the time. And that can be great for if you're looking for repeatable data to be able to sort of record. But when it comes to trying something new, if you've experienced something, doing this course is going to help give you those tools as well. So you can start using this information in this course on your next investigation. And you don't have to feel bored, doing the same thing the same way all the time or using the same knowledge. You can learn the basics, you can feel confident and save time. So you can learn this information. This is one thing I love, is the fact that it's online. You can learn this without actually having to deal with any of the paranormal drama that can happen, or having to spend a night with a big group of people at a location when you just want to kind of sneak off on your way and kind of don't go and do your own thing. You can learn this information in the comfort of your own home, when you want to, how you want to. Fantastic. Hey, technology is great. So what is the investment in this course? It is just $97. Yep, you get all that for just $97. And that, I think, works out to be probably just about $8 a month. So for $8 a month, you can go back and refer to this information. You can watch it again. You can look through your notes. The workbooks are written in a way you can actually take them out to an investigation. So you've got that information with you if you ever come across any of these different types of topics. It's fantastic. And you've got 24 hours to get it at this great price. And I don't want you guys to miss out, because the price will go up to $147. So this is the last chance to grab it at this great price. So by all means, I'm going to put up the link now. And hopefully, but there's a couple of questions as well I know that you probably will have. So what I will do is, here we go. And there we go. So for those of us who are watching the replay, the offer won't be available won't be available on your screen. That's okay, because the email this will be coming out on will actually provide the link for you to be able to purchase, and it will take you straight to what we call the cart. So there's that. Also, we'll go into a couple of questions while I have that showing. Here we go. So a couple of really common questions that will often get asked regarding something like this. How long do you have access for? 12 months unlimited access. And it's access from the 27th of February. So the reason being is everybody starts on the same day. Everyone has the information on the same day. It's almost like a silent shotgun start. So everyone is starting on the same day and absorbing the information in the same sort of set out process. And the way it is that each topic gets released each day as well. So on Monday, you'll get one topic. On Tuesday, you'll get released another topic, and it goes through up until Friday. So everybody is on the same page, and it really helps with the Facebook group as well. So you can ask the same questions. No one's ahead of somebody else. Everyone's doing it at the same time. It's a great community feel. So when does the course start or finish? So, well, technically, as long as you want, but it's designed to be completed in a week with a topic and module released per day. And like I mentioned before, each topic takes no more than 30 minutes. So what's the difference about this course compared to other online paranormal courses out there? The Science 5 is based on visual learning and about practical information. So a lot of investigators are doers and seers. We learn by seeing, we learn by doing, and we learn being out on the field the most. Majority, not all. So that's what this course is built in mind with. It's based with this in a tutorial style videos. It's got practical information that you can use as soon as you complete that first topic. So you've got tools in order to take out to the field instead of just learning about, say, for instance, knowing about shadow people. There's a particular phenomenon and the way they can look. But then what happens if you encounter one? Or what happens if you're working on a case that may encounter one? So this information is all built in this course. It's going to help you actually go out to the field with something practical that you can do and use. And it focuses on this. And the biggest part is that it's relevant to paranormal investigating. It's relevant for being out there in the field. So thank you so much for listening to this great webinar. Again, by all means, if you've got any questions at all regarding any of the information that I've spoken about today, by all means, I'll just change the screen sharing so you're back in the room. So by all means, if you've got any questions, email them through to accessparanormal@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Again, it's a great course. I would love to have you on board and start on Monday, the 27th of February. Thanks again.